We are climbing to the top of Broken Top, No Name Lake, and Ben Glacier. Launched from Todd Lake, 13.5 mile, 2,600 foot elevation gain hike. Today is October 12th, 2022. This is one of my very favorite hikes in all of Central Oregon. Three Sisters Wilderness is my favorite wilderness area. Broken Top is arguably my favorite mountain. And No Name Lake is my favorite Alpine Cirque, tucked into the nook and crannies of Broken Top. So you stack three favorites in a gorgeous Alpine forest. And what is not to like about this hike? Since I'm doing this in October, I'm seeing a minor amount of fall color foliage. For instance, right here, this yellowish green shading, emblematic of the season, and getting into the fall zone. Kind of on the back end of the glorious Alpine Window. Here, and it can vary based on what state you're at and the weather and the elevation, etc. But I would say here in Central Oregon, it's roughly from August 1st to October 15th, give or take. Call that like the magic 10 weeks of alpine adventuring. You can get up high in the mountains and kind of see the best hikes Central Oregon has to offer. Today being October 12th, we're right near the end of that. It's a rough range. Sometimes it goes into October 20th to October 25th in that range. But I just use the 15th as a general estimate. I actually think this year it might go into the 20s, so I might still have another week and a half of exploration left. I'm gonna try to jam as many hikes as I can in that window, because once that window closes, my friend, you get to wait about 10 months before you can come up here again. 9.5 if you're lucky. I actually build my whole hiking calendar annually around maximizing the Alpine Window, which is why, if you've seen any of my other videos, I'm always doing river hikes in end of winter, spring. I don't want to do those hikes during the prime Alpine Window. This hike does require a permit. I've got my permit folded safely in my trusty pocket. Just $1 on recreation.gov, not that big of a deal. I would recommend getting it though, because they do often have uniformed forestry personnel checking them, and the fine I think is pretty hefty, so pay $1 and don't worry about it. That's my motto. Oh, this is so beautiful. I classify this as like a little bit of an alpine meadow zone. Almost has an alpine tundra feel as we walk through the Alpine Forest. You see, you've got to add the word alpine in front of everything when you're in the Alpine Zone. What is the definition of alpine, you may be asking yourself? The definition of alpine is 5,000 feet or higher. So since we launched at 6,100 feet, Todd Lake Trailhead, we're going up to about 8,200 feet. With the natural machinations of the trail, it ends up being about 2,600 feet net gain. That means this entire hike is in the Alpine Zone. We started in the Alpine Zone, and we will finish in the Alpine Zone. Beyond the novelty and coolness of the word alpine, it actually has a pretty unique ecological distinction. The feel of an alpine zone is different. The tree mix, the vegetation, really everything's different in an alpine zone versus a subalpine zone. So has a totally different ambiance, we'll say, which I am a lover and appreciator of. Also, the air is fresher up here. You get a mix of smells that scented candles could only dream of being. It's just the smell of life and freshness, and every different Alpine zone's kind of got its own unique blend, and it's very life-affirming. It's just the crisp, fresh air. No matter how hard they try, they will never truly capture it in a candle because it's its own proprietary blend. A little bit of a trail junction here. Stop and take a look. We just want to keep going straight. We are not turning here. I will still show you the Wizard of Oz style routes. Okay, so this is Soda Creek Trail. There we go. So we just came from that way, which is Todd Trail, Todd Trailhead. This way is Soda Creek. If we wanted to go over to Green Lakes, this would be a junction where we'd be heading over there. I have videos on Green Lakes, but we are not doing that. We're continuing straight